Hello guys, this is Jester again, and this video will take us back to opening sealed booster boxes. So we will take a rest with those boxes that doesn't have any surprise factor on it. Although we are surprised with what's inside, but the unexpectancy of getting new cards cannot experience from those past boxes, especially those 5 Secret Lair Terra Stargazing. This marks our next booster box opening. Here in my place is already past 1 a.m. and since insomnia already has taken over me, I chose to spend my time with you all. So I'm just waiting for me to be sleepy. Maybe after opening one box of this one, I will be sleepy and ready to go to sleep. Then I will open the other box later when I woke up. So this will be again a two-part video, same as those boxes that we opened, like the stargazing. So it was a 5-part video, so this one will be a 2-part. Apologies if it's a little dark in the video because my desk lamp chose to not work this time. I don't know why. I was able to use it a while ago. Maybe it's a low battery, so it's as of now plugged to be charged. So we will thank both people in each video for these boxes. So 2 boxes came from 2 different people, so I think we will choose this one first. So we will thank him, then the other one we will thank in the next video, the second part. Like other unboxing of booster boxes, so we will keep one here because this is a other set, but the second box we will not be keeping one booster, this one only, the first box that we will open in the set. Then we will also keep one empty pack, at least for that trash collection. I want to thank first Mr. J.R. Shan Korean for providing us this Stanley professional leaf organizer. So this was the same thing that the professor from Tularian Academy College YouTube video. So shout out professor. He also revealed this one as one of a good like an organizer for our EDH decks. So it has also this handle here. So apologies if it will not be fit in the video because the video is really focused to see each card. So again, we will like to thank Mr. J.R. Shan Korean of Nisa and Hikaru Hobby Shop. We would like also to thank Mr. Jonel Dumlao for providing us our first Mr. Booster box. And also, I would like to thank my friend Mark Vincent Caceres for keeping these boxes with him while I was away. So to those people, we thank them. So it will not be possible, or the video will not be possible if not from them. So again, thank you. So without further ado, let's jump in opening this mystery booster box. So we just cut the side here. So it's a little dark, but I think we can manage because we still have the light above us. Before we proceed on opening our packs, I think I need to warn you that we will be fast forwarding each card that we will be getting except for the rares and foils. So at least we will not be wasting our time in reading each cards, but we will stop halfway if we find one of the 5 words that we are searching. So buckle up because this will be a bumpy ride. Now we can start our unboxing. So here. So same as opening other booster packs, we will keep one. The next video will not we will not keep anymore. So this one, the first one, this one we will be keeping aside. So in the future, maybe in future video when we will open one each pack of set that already passed. So we'll keep the other here and our shield here, and we'll also keep one, our first to open empty pack, so only for our trash collection. So after this one, we will not use anymore the scissors. We will open it one by or from its back. So this is our first. Oh, I forgot I ripped. So we will make the second one our to keep. What I see here, they made, this is the first time I open also mystery booster pack. So what I see here, they align every colors in one pack. So we have the white but in pairs. So we have white, we have blue, we have the black, we have red and green. Then we have the multicolor, so Armament Corps. Then we have the colorless. I think after this one is land. So we have Millikin, our colorless. Then we have Squirrel Wrangler. So it's not the land, but our first rare is Squirrel Wrangler. So we'll just check the rares. The other we'll just put aside. So Squirrel Wrangler is a 4-2 cast, 2-2 Squirrel, or creature druid rather, 2-2 creature druid, which can be paid with 2 generic and 2 green. So it has pay 2, 1 generic and 1 green for both abilities. So first ability is sacrifice a land, put 2 green squirrel creature tokens into play. So it's 1 generic and 1 green. So same as the other ability, same payment. Sacrifice a land, all squirrels get +1/+1 until end of turn. So this is a good addition to squirrel decks, especially in Kaldheim that they rebuild 1 legendary green. So this one fits well there. So I think that's Toski the name, their version of Ratatosker from the Norse mythology. So Tabor text says, node to death, bad way to go. And there you go. Then we have our second rare. It's Debtor's Knell, and this will be our first word also. So Knell. So Debtor's Knell is a 7-2 cast enchantment. So it can be paid with 4 generic and 3 combination of orbs of color. So either black or white. So ability says, at the beginning of your upkeep, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. So this also is good for the one I'm planning, Gen Arcanum Weaver deck. So it says here, one moment, conscious only of a sense of repose. The next moment, hearing the trudge of his own footsteps, he sighed and squinted into the glare ahead. So our foil here is Pull from Eternity. So on to the next pack. So I will not forget this one, or I will not forget to keep the pack. So So this is the pack. So we'll keep the empty pack here in the other side. Then we have a land. So this lot comes with lands or colorless artifact, I think. Then our rare is Dictate of Erebos, also good for Gen Arcanum Weaver deck. So Dictate of Erebos is a 5 to cast enchantment, 3 generic and 2 black with flash. So whenever a creature control dies, each opponent sacrifices a creature. So this one is almost the same with Grade Pack, but it costs more. So it says here, I take no pleasure in your suffering, but it is necessary. Once you accept your fate, you'll find eternity more tolerable. So I think Erebos is the one who said this one himself. Then our next rare is Odric Lunarch Martian or Marshal. Odric Lunarch Martian, and this will be our second word also. So Lunarch. So Odric Lunarch Martian is a 4 to cast 3/3 legendary creature human soldier. So 3 generic and 1 white. So at the beginning of each combat, creatures you control gain first strike until end of turn. If a creature you control has first strike, then the same for flying, death touch, bull strike, haste, hexproof, indestructible, lifelink, menace, reach, scalp, trample, and vigilance. And our foil is a Viscera Seer. So next pack, I think we only have 24 packs here in Mystery Booster. Not the same as the booster boxes that contain 36 and Master Set that contain only, I think, 30. So our first rare here is Brimstone Dragon. So there you go. Brimstone Dragon is a 8 to cast 6/6 dragon creature. So it has flying and haste. So doesn't affected by summoning sickness was the description of haste from way back. It's just the same as now. And our next rare is Boom Pile. It's a 4 to cast artifact. So we flip a coin. If we win the flip, we destroy all non-land permanents. So fuzzes, we have more than enough. Now, which one was it? So maybe this goblin, the one saying. So Flareon, One Eye, Goblin Engineer. Then we already have a pick. We have a first foil rare. So this is a Grand Architect, 3 to cast 1/3 creature Bodalken Artificer. So other blue creatures you control get +1/+1. Then we pay 1 blue. Target artifact becomes blue until end of turn. Then also tap and untap blue creature you control, add 2 generic to your mana pool. So we can only spend this one to cast artifact spells or activate abilities of artifacts. There you go. So on to the next pack. Somber Hoverguard, which is our third word, I think. So Somber. Somber Hoverguard is a 6 to cast 3/2 creature drawn. So it has affinity for artifacts. So it costs less to how many artifacts we have. Then it has also flying. It says here, the Velal can interrogate all intruders once the Hoverguards are done with them. So Rage Reflection is our first rare. So it's a 6 to cast enchantment, 4 generic and 2 red. So creatures we have has double set. It says here, Vengeance is dish best served twice. Then we have next one, Shamanic Revelation, a 5 to cast sorcery, 3 generic and 2 grid. Draw a card for each creature you control. So it has also Ferocious. So we gain 4 life for each creature you control with 4 power or greater. Here says, first, Whisper of Ancient Days, then Visions of Things to Come. Then we have a foil sheltering agent. I think mystery boosters are a good way to accumulate cards that needed reprints. So our next rare is Mix's Mastery. It's a 4-2 cast sorcery, 3 generic and red. Says here, exile target card that's an instant or sorcery from your graveyard. For each card exiled this way, copy it. And you may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. So exile Mix's Mastery. So it has an overload cost of 8. So 5 generic and 3 red. There you go. Then we have a time shifted foil, Funeral Charm. Boosted Spy. So this will be our fourth word, Balustrade or Balustrade. So Balustrade Spy is a 2/3 Vampire Rogue creature. So 4-2 cast, 3 generic and 1 black. It has flying. Also, when it enters the battlefield, target player reveals cards from the top of his or her library until he or she reveals a land card. Then put those cards into his or her graveyard. So it's like milling. There you go. And our first rare is Doom Gate. So it's a 7-2 cast, 10/10 creature elemental, 4 generic and 3 Golgari combination colors, black or gray. So it has trample, and at the beginning of our upkeep, we sacrifice a creature, then we gain life equal to its toughness. It says here it eats and eats until the juices morsel can find is itself. Then our second rare is Instant Double. It's a 4-2 cast, 0/0 creature shapeshifter. So 3 generic and 1 blue. It has plus. And it comes into play as a copy of creature on the battlefield. It says here, no duelist is without equal in Poliano. And our foil is a good one, a mythic foil. So we got a mythic foil. We got Scourge of the Throne. It's a 6-2 cast, 5/5 creature dragon. 4 generic and 2 red. Has flying and dethrone. So dethrone says whenever this creature attacks the player with the most life or tied for most life, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So whenever Scourge of the Throne attacks for the first time each turn, if it's attacking the player with the most life or tied for most life, untap all attacking creatures. After this main phase, there is an additional combat phase. So good pull indeed for this one. Also, they are using this one for Kaliab the Vast decks, which I also have. So I think a good inclusion to our own Kalia. So next, then our first rare is Tower of Eons. So it's a 4-2 cast artifact, which to pay 8, then tap it to gain 10 life. So says here its etchings tell the Ur-Golem stories of an entity able to force life into a lifeless plane. Next rare is Urza's Rage. So this is commander version. So Urza's Rage is a 3-2 cast instant, 2 generic and 1 red. So it has a kicker, 9 to cast, so 8 generic and 1 red. So we can pay this as an additional cost. Urza's Rage can't be countered by spells or abilities. Then it deals 3 damage to target creature or player. So if it was kicked, it would deal 10 damage. Then that damage cannot be prevented. Next is our foil is a harmonic sliver. So for those sliver EDH decks, but I'm not quite the fan of the sliver. And our first rare is Chancellor of the Annex. So Chancellor of the Annex, we put this one here. Chancellor of the Annex is a 7 to cast 5/6 creature angel, 4 generic and 3 white. So we can rebuild this one from our opening hand. If we do, each opponent casts his or her first spell of the game. Counter that spell unless that player pays 1 generic. So it also has flying, and whenever an opponent casts a spell, counter it unless that player pays 1. So it's like taxing them for 1. Then our next rare is Animar. So good addition to our collection, and I'm planning also to make an Animar morph deck. I already have Kadena morph deck, but I also want this color combination, the Timur one. So Animar Solo of Elements is a Timur 1/1 legendary creature elemental. So Timur, one of each color, 1 red, 1 blue, and 1 green. So it has protection from white and black. Then whenever we cast a creature spell, we put a +1/+1 counter on this one. Then creature spells we cast cost 1 less to cast, equal to the +1/+1 counter of Animar. Then our foil is Stormcrow, the legendary Stormcrow that became a meme to everyone. Yes. The Choking Tethers. Also our fourth word, Tethers or Tethers. So Choking Tethers is a 4 to cast instant, 3 generic and 1 blue. So it says here tap up to 4 target creatures. Then it has cycling, so we can discard this one and draw a card. So cycling is 1 generic and 1 blue. Then when we cycle this one, we can tap 1 target creature. So Tethers, our fourth word. A Collective Brutality, which is a good pull also. So Collective Brutality is a 2 to cast sorcery, 1 generic and 1 black that has Escalate. So its Escalate cost is discard a card. So it says here, pay this cost for each mode chosen beyond the first. So since it has 3 modes, we can pay up to 2. So we can discard up to 2. Then we can get all the abilities here. So these are the abilities. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose an instant or sorcery card from it, and that player discards that card. The next one is target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. And the last ability is target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. There. And our foil is Isamaru Hound of Konda. So it's a good addition. I remember one, I have a normal Isamaru from way back. So I have given that one to my friend. Shout out to John Lloyd Lulada. I think he already quit Magic, but I think he still have some of the cards with him. And he's currently, I think, in Dubai or Qatar. I'm not really sure, but it's in the part in the UAE. So here, also bring back memories from college days. So Isamaru Hound of Konda is a 1 to cast 2/2 legendary creature hound. So it's been updated already from being a hound now. It's already, I think, dog. So can be paid with 1 only white. So no other abilities, only the flavor text. It says here, the hound sniffed the air and let slip a low growl. General Takeno looked down at the faithful Isamaru and calmed him with a touch. Alert the men. The kami are coming. There. So it's a good addition to our legendary collection. So we already have 3 rare and mythic rare foils. So I think then our rare is a mythic. So it's a Maelstrom Archangel. So it causes 5 color. 5 mana cost, 5 different colors. So it's a 5/5 creature angel that has flying. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, we may play an unland card. It says here in its flavor's text is, there is no world where angels fear to tread. So this one is a good addition for those Joda Archmage Eternal decks that I also have. So I think I can put it there. Our next rare is a Temporal Mastery, a good pull. So that's a double mythic pack. So Temporal Mastery says here, 7 to cast sorcery. So 5 generic and 2 blue. So we take an extra turn after this turn. Then we exile this card. So it has also a miracle, which can be paid only by 1 generic and 1 blue. So when we reveal this one, as we draw, or the first card, we draw this one and we reveal it. So we can pay the miracle cost. So it says here, time is marvelous plating. This one. So it's a double mythic pack. Then our last foil is Trailblazers Boots. Stalwart Aven. And also our 5th word, Stalwart. So Stalwart Aven is a 3/2 cast 1/3 creature bird soldier, 2 generic and 1 white. It has flying and renown 1. So renown says, when this creature does combat damage to a player, if it isn't renowned, put a +1/+1 counter on it and it becomes renowned. So that's our 5th word, Stalwart. And our first rare is Krupix, God of Horizon. So this one is a good addition to our collection. So it can be put in the binder close to its Stargazing or Stargaze version. So Krupix, God of the Horizon is a 5 to cast 4/7 legendary enchantment creature god. So this one is just a repeat of what I said last when we opened the Teros Stargaze box. So we can pair this one by 3 generic and combination of simic colors. So 1 blue and 1 green. So it has indestructible and it needed 7 devotion from simic colors to be a creature. Then we don't have any maximum hand size, same as the Reliquary Tower that I mentioned from the video. Then if unused mana would empty from your mana pool, that mana becomes colorless instead. So this one is a good pull for me, and also a good addition to our collection. So also this is also a mythic. Then our last rare is a Whelming Wave. Although it's underwhelming, but it's a Whelming Wave. So Whelming Wave is a 4 to cast sorcery, 2 generic and 2 blue. So we return all creatures to their owner's hand except if it's Krakens, Leviathans, Octopuses, and Serpents. It says here, I can see why this appeals to Tasa, says by Kiora. And our last card is our foil. So it's only a underwhelming also card, a Game Trail Changeling. then our rare will be Kiki Mirror Breaker. So this one is a good pull. Also it's a mythic, and also I don't yet have any copy of Kijiki, even the old art. So this one is a good addition to my legendary collection also. So Kiki Mirror Breaker is a 5 to cast 2/2 legendary creature Goblin Shaman. So 2 generic and 3 red. So it has haste, and you can tap him to make a token copy of target non-legendary creature on the battlefield that we control. Then that token will have haste. Then we need to sacrifice that token at the beginning of the next endgame. So it usually combos with creature that comes into play that targets some other creature to be untapped. So like a Skyhooser or that fairy, a blue fairy. So those are just some of combo cards of Kiki. Then our foil is another rare. So our foil is a Minamo Schools at Water Edge. So Minamo School at Water Edge is a legendary land that taps for blue mana. Then you pay 1 blue mana also and untap a target. So pay blue mana and tap this land to untap a target legendary permanent. So it says here, each student graduates the school and enter history. In EDH, the one I know that using this land is Prime Speaker Benefar for the combo. Continuous searching of creature. So there you go. But it's also usable to other decks, especially this targets legendary permanent. So there we go. That's our fourth rare and mythic foils. And next we have our first rare is Dominus of the Filthy. So Dominus of the Filthy is a 4/4 creature spirit avatar. So it causes 5 in any combination of Izzet color. So that's red and or blue. So it has flying, and at the beginning of our upkeep we may gain control of target permanent until end of turn. So if we do, we untap that permanent and it's gain haste until end of turn. It says here, nothing is truly your own. It is his, whether you know it or not. By the Seer's Parables. So there you go. And our next rare is Deadly Tempest from Commander set. So Deadly Tempest is a 6 to cast sorcery. So 4 generic and 2 black. Says destroy all creatures. Each player loses life equal to the number of creatures he or she controlled that were destroyed this way. Then Clever Text says, when the winds blow out of the abyss, death is the only harvest. So there. Then our foil is an Ogre Gate Crusher. And our first rare is a Yabimaya's Embrace. So I think this already downgraded into uncommon in the Double Masters. So we will just add this one to our uncommon, and we will not read this anymore. But I think we will just read, no? For the sake of it's still rare here. So Yabimaya's Embrace is a 8 to cast enchantment aura. So 5 generic and in Simican colors. So 1 green and 2 blue. So says here, we control the enchanted creature. Then the creature has or gets +2/+2 and has trample. So we will just add him in our common and uncommon pile. Then our rare is Taurian Mauler. So Taurian Mauler is a 3-2 cast 2-2 creature shapeshifter. 2 generic and 1 red. So it has changeling, so this creature has all creature type. Then whenever an opponent casts a spell, we may put a +1/+1 counter on this one. Then says here, the power of a waterfall, the fury of an avalanche, the intellect of a gale force wind. There you go, Taurian Mauler. And our foil is another legendary and a good pull for our collection. So this one is a foil Cartus Tyrant of June. So at least we can replace already our Cartus that normal in the binder. So this one is a good addition to our binder again. And also this is a mythic. So Cartus Tyrant of June is a 7-2 cast 7/7 legendary creature dragon. So 4 generic and combination of June color. So green, red, and black. So this creature has flying and haste. And when it comes into play, we gain control of all the dragons in the battlefield. Then we untap those dragons. And says here also, other dragon creatures we control have haste. There you go. So it's like a dragon whisperer in a sense. Then again, a brimstone dragon. This is from the old set, Portals, I think, this one. So I'm not yet familiar with that set because I didn't play during those times. I played during Ravnica, although I started collecting during Legion, Scourge, and Mirrodin Blocks, but I started playing and I did have a pre-constructed deck, Azorius one, in the original Ravnica set. So Brimstone Dragon is a 8-2 cast 6/6 creature dragon for 6 generic and 2 red. So this one has flying and haste. So from the past video or this video a while ago, I also told you that this is the description of haste. So morning sickness doesn't affect it. So next rare is Krenko Mob Boss. I think I already sold my Krenko, so this is a good addition again for me. They will go together with Krenko Tin Street Kingpin. This have already the 2 copies. So Krenko Mob Boss is 4-2 cast 3/3 legendary creature Goblin Warrior. So 2 generic and 2 red. So it says here, tap this creature, then create X11 red goblin creature tokens, where X is the number of goblins we control. So in a sense, you will double the goblins you have. This is like the goblin version of Marrow Knower for the rats. So it says here, he displays a perverse charisma fueled by avarice, highly dangerous, recommends civil actions or civil sanctions. Was said by Agman Sorv, Azorius Hussar. There. Then lastly, our foil is another rare. So it's Triskelion. So Triskelion is a 6-2 cast 1/1 artifact creature construct. So only 6 generic. So when it enters the battlefield, we put 3 +1/+1 counters to this one, so it will become 4/4. Then if we remove 1 +1/+1 counters, we can deal 1 damage to target creature or player. So I think in the updated Oracle, it already says to any target. Then clever text says here, why do bad things always come in threes? Said by Kisolf, Expedition Survivor. I remember this Triskelion is one of my early rares during the Mirrodin Lock, and Unfortunately, I already sold my binder that contains the original one of this one. But it's nice to see again the old rares that I used to have. This one will be an addition to our rare foils. So on to the next pack. Where is Steam Flogger Boss, one of the cards that I thought will be reprinted in a standard set, but unfortunately it was reprinted in an unset, I think unsanctioned one. I think this one was reprinted in unsanctioned, or the one before this one. Anyhow, Steam Flogger Boss is a 4 to cast 3/3 creature goblin rigger. So 3 generic in 1 red. So other riggers we control get +1/+0 and have haste. Then if a rigger you control would assemble a contraption, it assembles 2 contraptions instead. Says here, don't quit now. We're almost done. Then we'll build another one. There you go. So I was hoping this one from way back is be reprinted in a standard set, but the contraption mechanic only is for the unsets. So lastly, our foil is another rare, a Puka's Mischief. So a Puka's Mischief is a 4 to cast enchantment, 3 generic and 1 blue. So here says at the beginning of our upkeep, we may exchange control of target non-land permanent we control and target non-land permanent and opponent controls with equal or lesser converted mana cost. So this one is a good one with a sacrificial dex. So we can exchange control of target permanent from the enemies, then we sacrifice their cards or their permanents, then we just return our card to us with that land. I forgot what land is it from one of the commander set that returns all we own at the end of the turn. Then we have our first rare, or our rare in the pack is Talia's Lancers. So Talia's Lancers is a 5 to cast 4/4 creature human knight. So 3 generic and 2 white. So it has first strike, and when this enters the battlefield, we can search our library for any legendary card. Then we can reveal that one and put into our hand. Then we shuffle our library. So it says here, let the points of our lances lead the way. So I think this is them saying. So this one is a good one to the Sir Gwen or other knight based EDH deck. So it will help you to find legendary equipment, so legendary creature, any legendary permanent that you have in your deck. Then we have our foil, another rare, Spellweaver Volute with the future what do you call this one, card treatment. So this is from the future set. So this is a 5 to cast enchantment or 3 generic and 2 blue. So we can only enchant card which is in the graveyard, which is also an instant. So whenever we play a sorcery spell, we can copy the instant card that was enchanted. Then we may play the copy without paying its mana cost. If we do, we remove the enchantment or enchanted card from the game and attach this card again to another instant card in a graveyard. So I'm not sure if in one graveyard it will only pass on to the same graveyard, or you can pass the other graveyard. So we need to look into it. So it looks quite promising also for those mono blue or blue affiliated decks. Let's focus on spell slinging. So next pack is Then we have our first rare is Enchanted Evening. So first rare of the pack. It's a 5/2 cast enchantment, 3 generic and a combination of Azorius colors, white and or blue. So it says here, all permanents are enchantments in addition to their other types. So including the lands. So the text says, in the reflection, she saw the rough shell of the world sloughing away, revealing the truth shining underneath. So there you go. And our next rare is a Commit to Memory. So Commit to Memory is a 2 card. I think this one is called split card. So Commit costs 4. It's an instant. So 3 generic and 1 blue. Says here, put target spell or non-land permanent into its owner's library second from the top. While memory, we can only use this one as an aftermath or after we cast the first spell, the commit. Then aftermath says here, cast this spell only from your graveyard, then exile it. So it's more like flashback. So memory is a 6/2 cast sorcery, 4 generic and 2 blue. Says here, it's each player shuffles his or her hand and graveyard into his or her library, then draws 7 cards. So somewhat like a win call. There you go. Commit to Memory. Then our foil is a Greater Moss Dog. Then our rare for this pack is Coat of Arms. So very good for those tribal decks, especially goblins and elves. So Coat of Arms is a 5/2 cast artifact. So only paid by 5 generic. So anything, any color or any no color at all. So each creature gets +1/+1 for each other creature on the battlefield that shares at least one creature type with it. So for example, if 2 goblin warriors and a goblin shaman are on the battlefield, each gets +2/+2. Then it says here in the playboard text, a banner for bonds of blood or believed. There's our rare. Then our foil is a God's Grimoire. And our rare is a Trading Post. So Trading Post is also a good inclusion to EDH decks. So Trading Post is a 4/2 cast artifact. So we can pay 1 generic to choose from 4 abilities. So the other one is, first ability is tap this and discard a card. We gain 4 life. Or we can tap this. All of this one has a payment of 1 generic. So we can tap this also and pay 1 life to create a 0/1 white goat creature token. Or we can tap again this one and pay 1 mana to sacrifice a creature, then we return an artifact card from graveyard to our hand. From our graveyard to our hand. Then the last one is we can pay 1 mana also and tap this one and sacrifice an artifact to draw a card. There you go. So it is like a recursion also in the decks. Then our foil is a Pili Pala. This one I think is a combo piece of What's the other card? I think that's Mantle of Paradise, if I'm not mistaken. So we have 3 more packs to go. And our first rare of the pack is Chancellor of the Annex. I think we already say this one. This one is our first rare. Then our second rare is a Sewer Nemesis from the Commander set. So Sewer Nemesis is A for to cast, star for power and toughness. It's a creature horror. So 3 generic and 1 black. So when it enters the battlefield, we choose a player. So its power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in the chosen player's graveyard. Then says also here, whenever the chosen player casts a spell, that players mail the top card of their library. There you go. Our foil is another rare, a Fiery Gambit from the Mirrodin Black. So, or original Mirrodin Black. So Fiery Gambit is a 3 to cast sorcery, 2 generic and 1 red. Says here, flip a coin until you lose a flip, or choose to stop flipping. If you lose a flip, Fiery Gambit has no effect. If you win one or more flips, Fiery Gambit deals 3 damage to target creature. If you win 2 or more flips, Fiery Gambit deals 6 damage to each opponent. If you win 3 or more flips, draw 9 cards and tap all lands you control. So this one is really good. Also an inclusion to that new commander or commander combination, Clark, the Tumbless, and Sakashima. So I think I'm planning to make this two also. I think to include this one. So there. So second to the last pack. Then we have our first rare, a good pull indeed. It's a Bloom Tender. So I think this is not cheap as of the pricing now. So Bloom Tender is a 2 to cast 1/1 creature elf druid. So for 1 generic and 1 green. So we tap this creature. Then for each color among permanents we control, we add 1 mana to our mana pool. There. So that includes itself. So we add green for itself. Then other colored permanents we have. Then says here in the playboard text, beauty is a seed waiting to blossom under her capable hands. There you go. Our second rare is a legendary creature, Alesha, who smiles at death. I remember this one being used by me when Tiny Leaders was still on the trend. So this is one of my decks, Alesha. So this is a 3 to cast 3/2 legendary creature, human warrior, 2 generic and 1 red. So she has first strike, or it has first strike. Then when it attacks, we can pay 2 combination or a combination of orbs of color, either 2 white or 2 black, or white and black. If we do, we can return a creature card with power 2 or less from our graveyard to the battlefield, tap and attacking. There you go. So we can combo out this one with creatures that make tokens when it comes into play, or other creatures that has good abilities, enter the battlefield abilities. So here, Alesha says, greet death with sword in hand. So there's our second rare. And our fourth is another rare, Helix Pinnacle. So Helix Pinnacle is a 1 to cast enchantment, only paid by green. So it has shard, then it has pay X, then put X tower counters on this card. Then at the beginning of our upkeep, if there are 100 or more tower counters on Helix Pinnacle, you win the game. So this one is really good also for those ramp decks. For example, Omnat decks that usually gets land. So instead of wasting your land every turn and not tapping it, you can pay this one here to add is a alternate win con. So there you go. Now we are already in our last pack. Star of Extinction. So this is a mythic. So Star Extinction is a 7 to cast sorcery, 5 generic and 2 red that destroys a land. Then Star of Extinction deals 20 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. So it's also a board wipe. Then flavor text says here by Shaper Pashana, the visions haunt me. I see the end of the world, brought on by the search for the immortal sun. There you go. Then lastly, our foil is another rare, One with Nothing. So One with Nothing is, I don't know still what's the use of this card or where to use this card. So this is a 1 to cast instant, only paid by black. Says only here, discard our hand. Then flavor text says is, when nothing remains, everything is equally possible. So there goes our box.